Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Nerdy Old Men Podcast. This is the Old Bald Man, Chad, and we have our all-star cast again with us today, starting with Redneck Wes.
Yes, I believe I've been demoted to sidekick now, haven't I?
Well, the Facebook poll was close, but it did say that you were the sidekick. But that's not a demotion. Yeah. We work in tandem and together. But
I think Cody said it best. We're a buddy cop.
Well, that's true. And a good team together always needs an evil genius to help them out when they're in a jam. And that evil genius is Perfect Pat.
I do like the title Evil Genius. I am updating my resume now.
Yes, sir. Put that on there. We will write you a letter of recommendation.
Just because he has the Dr. Doom's costume, on standby, nothing needs to be read into
awesome.
That. Nothing needs to be read into that.
That is freaking awesome. Love it.
Just remember me when you take over the world, Pat.
Not like something bare-chested like Kraven the Hunter.
I'm all about it. Let's do it.
I can see you as Kraven the Hunter, though. I mean, we've seen you as Sasquatch, and that's a story for another time. So.
Hey, Wes,
we just lost the audience there.
What are we doing today, Wes?
Oh, man. This one was actually sent in by one of the fans of the show, and we really appreciate the suggestion. We're doing 80s movie quotes.
Yes, that is Mr. Jason Llewellyn. Came up with that idea for us, and Llewellyn, we appreciate you, brother. He's a buddy of mine and a good listener, so we're glad to have that idea because I think that's awesome.
So we're going to make that happen today.
Yeah, we're going to make it happen today. So let's get after it, man. We know, and we've talked about this before, that we absolutely love just about everything 80s. And 80s movies, just like our episode when we talked about 80s cartoons, they're what made us badass, and if you question that, you're wrong. So
yes,
let's
very wrong.
we'll get started for us, guys. Somebody jump in there and let's reminisce on the movies that were awesome.
Well, let's start out with one that literally hits close to home.
Go for it.
From the Cannonball Run, Dr. Nicholas Van Helsing.
How did I know that you were going to go with Cannonball Run?
I'm Nicholas Van Helsing, professor of proctology and other related tendencies, a graduate of the University of Rangoon, and assorted night classes at the Knoxville, Tennessee School of Faith Healing.
I love that one.
Oh, that's perfect. All right,
we're done with the show. Thanks for tuning in. Our claim to fame right there.
There we go. Cannonball Run. I know that's one of your favorites, man. One of Pat's favorites is Cannonball Run, that's for sure.
And it's just, that was a movie that just had an all-star cast. I mean, and you could pretty much just quote the whole movie. I mean, there's so many funny parts in it.
Yeah.
I could do a whole show by myself on the Cannonball Run.
Cannonball Run with Perfect Pat.
Go
ahead,
Wes. One of the ones that I thought of, because it was the first movie I can remember seeing in the movie theaters. And the movie terrified me because I was a little kid. But we went to see E.T. And just him saying E.T. phone home. And you can remember, everybody would make that voice. Everybody would go, phone
E.T.
home.
phone home, yes.
Yeah.
A great movie that spawned the worst video game of all time.
That's true. That's true. Didn't they bury those in the desert somewhere?
There's a documentary about them going to the landfill and digging them up.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I think it's on Netflix or something, yeah. But they actually went and did that. But,
yeah, E.T. phone home. You're right, man.
But I mean, everybody, or everybody would go Billy.
Yes.
White, But it was a great movie, and it was. But I think everybody growing up was, it didn't matter what would happen. Somebody, we got to do something. E.T. phone home.
Well, you're right, and that movie kind of sparked interest in a lot of us into alien phenomenon and all that kind of stuff. So more than just a good quotable movie, it was one of those adventure things, because in the 80s, what was the key to adventure?
Oh,
a bicycle.
Your buddies on a bicycle.
On a bicycle, yeah absolutely. I mean, we're talking about going on adventures. It reminds me of the bicycles. Me and our buddy Terrence, when we got on a bicycle, and then shortly after we went on this long adventure, we decided to come back, and it resulted in me being struck by a 1978, I think it was, Pinto. And that was a bad day, but it just kind of reminds me of riding bicycle adventures in the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, and you say that, and the nostalgia that it brings back, because you look at like Stranger Things. Everybody loved Stranger Things in the 80s and everything, but what's their main thing? They're on their bikes.
On their bikes, yeah.
To go play D&D.
That's right.
Same with the movie Super 8.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, bicycles, yeah. Again, since our buddy Llewellyn come up with the idea for the show, he sent in a quote from Predator. Somebody guess what it is. You know what it is, right?
I ain't got time to bleed.
I ain't got time to bleed. Yes, sir. That's
got time to duck.
I have another great quote from Predator.
Strap this on your sore ass, Blaine.
Yep.
I like it. I like it.
There's a joke in there I'm not going to repeat, but there's a joke in there I'm not going to repeat.
Yep. Yeah. Cosplay Cody wrote in and gave us one too, which and I had not thought about. Have you ever danced with the devil by the pale moonlight?
Jack Nicholson says the Joker.
Just comes in at the end of the 80s.
That's what I thought. I was like, was that an 80s film? But it was 89. Like 89. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and again, Llewellyn will find me somewhere and cut my tires if I don't tell him, or if I don't mention, because like RoboCop's one of his favorite movies. But he said Red Foreman telling the girls to leave, just not in language fit for here. He said,
yes.
I don't know. That is pretty good too.
Well, speaking of RoboCop, that's one of the best lines was, dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Yes.
He's like, drop it.
And what do we go back to when we talk about these 80s films? Badass.
Well, there's explosions and
there's
guns
not the man bun flip flop wearing crying in the corner horse shit. This is guns and explosions and kicking people's ass, right? And brilliant quotes from those.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you want to talk guns? I know we kind of talked about this offline, but the Clint Eastwood, the man's an icon,
right?
And I had to double check to make sure I was right. But the movie Sudden Impact he did, which was part of the Dirty Harry series, but the classic, and everybody's used it at some point in time. Go ahead, make my day. When the guys try to rob the little restaurant, and he goes in there all the time, and he gets a cup of coffee, and he's like reading the paper, and everybody's sitting there, just nobody's doing anything, and the lady's like, she gets his coffee and she puts sugar in it, and she keeps putting sugar in it, keeps putting sugar. Just pour sugar still pouring sugar, and he just puts $1 down, walks out, and he's like, he tastes it and he notices that somebody's flipped the signs over, says we're closed, and he goes around the back, and he comes back in, and Eastwood bravado, he's talking to him, and all these guys have got guns, and he's just like, pulls his out, the big 44 Magnum, and starts blowing people away, and then he gets the last guy, he's got a hostage. He basically just puts the gun in his face, and he's like, go ahead, make my day. And everybody has said that, from, us goofing off, doing something, to politicians.
Right.
Everybody has said this. And there were so many Dirty Harry lines that I want to use, but they fit into the 70s, so we'll probably come back and do like a 70s show.
Since we did that one, we got an 80s line that parodies that. Remember the movie Johnny Dangerously?
Oh, yes, I do.
All right, yes.
This is the 88 Magnum. They made it special for him. It shoots through schools.
Through schools. That's awesome. That's awesome.
And just some of the movies that just inspire, because you could tell people had built on stuff, because you gotta outdo somebody else. But
well, I got one, and again, I'm bad with remembering exactly what decades things come in at, but there can be only one.
Oh,
Highlander.
yeah.
1986,
yes.
I believe.
Connor McLeod
Of the Clan MacLeod.
You know,
It's also
honestly,
one of the greatest movie soundtracks of all time.
you're absolutely
Oh, yes.
right. All by Queen. It's a Kind of Magic, right? That was the
Yep,
actual
that was the
soundtrack.
album.
Which
Yeah.
also has a song from Iron Eagle on it.
Which one is that?
It's like One Vision.
Okay, all right, yeah, yeah. But that's great stuff, man. That's great stuff. I mean,
Maybe we need to do a great 80s soundtrack.
hey, that'd be neat. That'd be a neat idea too. Let's see some other ones.
Oh, wait a minute. We're going to skip over Highlander? That's all we get for
No,
Highlander?
hey, jump in there, dude. What do you want? Permission? What the hell?
Well, I don't know. I'm a sidekick. I got to ask.
Sidekicks are annoying too. Jump in there.
Well, I mean, I always like the fight with the Kurgan and Ramirez when they're at McLeod's house.
Yes.
And when he slices Kurgan's throat, and he, just as Sean Connery could say, he goes, hurts. You know, and, you know, it's
Well,
the iconic scar.
Same fight scene. Tonight you sleep in hell.
In hell, yeah.
Yes.
Right
That's-
before he, there can be only one, yeah.
Well, you know, there's no being immortals and fighting. There is no.
Here's your reminder.
Oh, there it is.
Welcome.
There we go.
Those
you gotta go work
listeners,
out.
those
Bye.
listeners of the show may have heard that before. We got started a little late today because of some technical difficulties on my end. Since
And
we're
it
still
reminds me
recording remotely.
twice.
But tell them to stand by. You're getting your badassery motivation
Absolutely.
first. So, but yeah, man, talking about Highlander and all the quotes in that, you can't have these epic standoffs between immortals without some real awesome banter back and forth, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's. Let's see some other things I was thinking about, and our buddy Luke Petrie talked about Ghostbusters.
Oh, great movie.
So many good Ghostbusters
Yes,
quotes.
you're right. No human being would stack books like this.
I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
Yes, he slimed
me.
Yeah, Beckman. Yeah.
Well, seeing how we never really fully got to test or have a full test on these, yeah, I blame myself. Yeah, I blame you too. Don't worry, guys. We all got, unregistered proton
Nuclear accelerator.
Right.
on our backs.
Don't mess with the guy with a positron collider.
Yes.
Don't cross the streams. You said not to cross the streams.
What did you do, Ray?
I thought of the most innocent, harmless thing I could think. It just popped in my head.
It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
And I wish I could do the whole Gozer one.
Well, you got. Go ahead.
Well, my buddies.
I'm Vince Clortho, Keymaster of Gozer. Gozer the Gazarian, Gozer the Destructor. So, very similar. I may have
John
paraphrased that one a
Dotson,
bit.
he does. I can shout out to the Smoky Mountain Ghostbusters. They do a lot of charity work, and he will dress up and do that, and it's hilarious because he'll do it 100 times at a convention, and he's got
That's awesome.
the hat and the jar of popcorn, and just he'll do the whole thing. But funny story,
I have a picture of me from a con from the Smoky Mountain Ghostbusters with me with that hat on somewhere.
That's awesome.
It may be on that ancient XP machine I was telling Chad about
Yeah,
before we
that's
got
what
online.
that's what I needed because mine keeps updating, and that's what the problem
But
was.
yeah,
and XP no longer updates.
Perfect.
But yeah, Ghostbusters was one of those movies as a kid, which back in the 80s, I guess we were just tougher because little kids really didn't need to be watching the Ghostbusters.
No, there was some, yeah. But yeah. Another quote that I like on there is, human sacrifice, dogs, cats living together, mass hysteria. That's just great stuff, man. Just great stuff.
Oh, gosh.
Let's
I don't
see.
care as long as there's a steady paycheck in it.
Yeah. Well, we like to give the comments from the fans. We've got Cheryl, who I know is a big fan of Mike's House of Comics. She responded with "Nobody puts baby in a corner" from Dirty Dancing.
Ah, yeah, Dirty Dancing.
That's a good one too. I mean, there's some badassery in that as well. So that's
Well, that makes me think of another one, which was Roadhouse that he did.
Yeah.
And it's like, be nice, I can't remember the exact quote, but he's talking about like everybody coming in causing trouble. He's like, be nice until it's not time to be nice.
Yes.
And they're like, how do we know it? I'll let you know.
It's one of the greatest Tai Chi fight scenes of all time.
Yes.
Is it the one? Are you talking about the one where he catches when Billy comes in with the the knife blade on his boot.
Yep.
Is that one? Yeah.
And bonus, it has Terry Funk in it.
There you go.
How can you not like a movie with Terry Funk in it? I mean, come on.
Well,
I mean, hardcore wrestling legend right there.
You got 1984's The Karate Kid.
Wax on,
Wax on, wax off. Yes. And what
Strike
are some other
hard,
ones? Strike hard, strike fast. Yeah, no
no
mercy. Absolutely. Cobra Kai, motherfreakers, which is also another great show, which I finished.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's funny that you go back to all of these and that theme, larger than life heroes in a relatively simple situation for something like this. But it's that badassery, man.
You talk about that, Chad, like the larger than life heroes.
Yeah.
Well, here's a quote from a great 80s movie, Teen Wolf, that I probably use at least once a month. And it's from the coach, and he's giving advice to Michael J. Fox. There's 3 rules that I live by. Never get less than 12 hours sleep. Never play cards with a guy who has the same first name as a city. And never get involved with a woman with a tattoo of a dagger anywhere on her body. Now you stick to that, and everything else is cream cheese. And I probably use the cream cheese part of that quote daily.
Well, and that's the thing about a lot of these quotes is you'll use parts of them for just anything.
Yeah.
And that's what's fun because I've got to go sword and sorcery for a minute. But from Conan, when Mako would do the intro, and he, here comes Conan the Cimmerian, he does all, but the last part I think everybody has used is, let me tell you of the days of high adventure. It was just the way he said it was just so cool.
That's a perfect D&D.
Well, and there's another great quote. There's another great quote from that movie.
Quote.
Contemplate this as you hang from the tree of woe. I want a tree of woe in my yard.
Yes.
Which I'm glad
what
I
exactly
did,
is a
back
tree
in
of
the
woe?
80s, Derek would have strapped me to it and beaten me with punishment candle often.
Yet a story for another time.
Story time with Pat.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, that's a great episode right there. Story time with Pat.
But, I mean, Conan had a lot of good ones, it's like, what is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of their women.
Yes.
It's like he's got a plan, and he sticks to the plan pretty close,
Yeah.
But I always like the one when they're going into the last battle, the final battle, and they've set up their defenses, and they're waiting, and he's like, says something to the effect, it's like, Crom, I've never prayed to you before. I don't have the tongue for it. No one, not even you, will remember if we were good men or bad. Why we fought and why we died. Just that 2 stood against many, and that was important. Valor pleases you, Crom, so grant me one request. Grant me revenge, and if you do not, then the hell with you.
Yeah.
And I always wished at the end of that, when he says that, I'll do it, I wish he'd say it, I'll do it myself. I always wished that was something I always added, was I'll do it myself. But, but just the valor pleases you, Crom. So grant me my one request, grant me revenge.
Well, since we mentioned Conan, let's shift over to Beastmaster for a minute.
Oh, there's another good
All right,
piece.
yeah.
And this one involves handsome actor Rip Torn. They're having the big sacrifice, and he throws the baby into the fire pit, and the hawk swoops down and gets it and flies away. And he turns to the crowd and yells, "Don't you see? R wants your children." Which, back when Easttown Mall was a thing, and it was the mall people went to, often we would be there during our UT days, and either myself or Derek would just spin around and just scream that from the food court down below.
I was about to say, I can see you all doing that.
I love that.
Oh, gosh. I mean, this is one of those ones. We're just going to be all over the place.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I think those are some of the best ones,
But, one of the movies from the 80s that I love the movie growing up. because it was so different. But Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh yeah.
And Jessica, when she said, "I'm not bad, I'm just drawn that way," you didn't get the joke really until you got older, and you're kind of like,
right. I get it. I get it.
So I don't know. That might have been where my obsession with redheads came from.
Shit.
I mean, it was a good way to get started at it. And since we're talking all over the place, and this quote actually is pertinent today from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I condone fascism, or any ism for that matter. Isms, in my opinion, are not good. A person should not believe in an ism. They should believe in themselves. I quote John Lennon. I don't believe in Beatles. I just believe in me. Good point there. After all, he was the walrus. I could be the walrus. I'd still have to bum rides off people.
That is a great film, too.
Yeah, but that's probably got one of the best, Bueller.
Yes.
Bueller. Yeah, I mean, Ben Stein was hilarious in that. Cause,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just the way, there's no emotion, there's no nothing when he did, but it's just Bueller. And everybody will do that, and kids now, have no clue what that means, and you can do that in a group of us, and we'll all start cracking up. Just 'cause.
Yeah, they don't get it. Like, what? I don't understand.
And that was what was funny was seeing the Deadpool, the first one, when they had the little teaser thing at the end credits, and he's dressed up as Ferris Bueller, and he's like, "You're still here? Why are you still here? The movie's over," and laughing and getting the joke, and people sitting there going, "What?" So go back and watch 80's movies, you kids.
Yes, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Because roads, where we're going, we don't need roads.
Yep.
Back to the Future, 1985. The only place where a DeLorean was actually cool.
Let's go to one that just horrified me as a child.
All right.
And it's not a movie that necessarily you think of or really fits the theme of this podcast in any other way but quotes. The 1981 movie Mommy Dearest.
Oh.
No wire hangers ever. And then she just beats her daughter with the wire hanger.
Oh, God.
It was all that movie traumatized me as a child.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, well, you're talking about other scary quotes. Poltergeist.
Oh yeah.
They're here.
That movie
God.
messed
See,
me up,
I don't do horror films, man.
I don't
I just don't.
No.
But that's a good quote.
Let's shift from horror to something funny.
All right.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Yeah, Airplane. Perfect for Airplane.
I speak jive. Do you speak jive? No, I speak jive. Yeah.
That's a good movie. Another film that just would probably not survive in today's environment. No way.
You ever seen a grown man naked? It's like, what? Oh gosh. Well, I mean, there's a lot of movies from the 80s that you couldn't do now because it would.
The aforementioned Cannonball Run.
Oh Lord, there's no way that movie gets made today.
No.
I mean, just Jamie Farr as a mad Arab would never get.
He'd have to be like some, I don't know, like therapist. What I don't even want to go there. That's just, but I mean, I think about movies like Die Hard.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
Yippee-ki-yay,
Yeah. And it is a Christmas movie.
I love it when I still want to call him Carl. Was it Carl? I can't remember his cop buddy. He was the dad. He was the dad on Urkel show on
Family Matters.
Family Matters. Thank you. When he's getting the Twinkies, And the guy, he's got like an armful of Twinkies, and he lays them on the counter, and the cashier's looking at him. He goes, "It's for my wife." And he's like, He goes, "She's pregnant." And he's like, he's literally got like 40 Twinkies, and he's put them in a bag. And then Bruce Willis finds the one, and he's like, "Roy, are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I ate like 100-year-old Twinkie." And he's like, "Oh man, Twinkies don't go bad." And he starts naming off the ingredients in a Twinkie. But you know, when he gets up there and he pulls the fire alarm, and you know, he sees the fire trucks coming down the road, and he's like, "I'll kiss your effing Dalmatian." And then you know, the baddies get everything turned off, and then hilarity ensues when he can't get anybody to come to Nakatomi Plaza. Well, I mean, just some of the jokes he says. He's like, "Who's driving this car, Stevie Wonder?" You know,
Yes.
There's no way you could say stuff like that now without somebody getting offended.
Oh, no.
And but then there's the, you know, when he shoots the rocket at him, he's like, "Welcome to the party, pal."
It's, you know, and it's funny when when what is it? Advanced Auto Parts did the commercial.
Die Hard
Yeah, those are hilarious. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's so
I need
funny.
one of those.
Yeah.
And they got Argyle, his limo driver.
Yes. What else you got there, Pat?
Oh, gosh.
Well, we mentioned it early. Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah,
Oh,
great
that's
film.
great.
Two quotes I
film.
truly love. Well, there's a bunch, but there's two I truly love. Ah, black blood of the earth. You mean oil? No, I mean black blood of the earth. And this one made it into Warcraft.
Oh, did it?
A 6-demon bag. A 6-demon bag. And great, what's in it? Wind, fire, that sort of thing. Because in Warcraft, in World of Warcraft, you could get the magic out of the 6-demon bag. The description was wind, fire, that sort of thing.
See, I don't play Warcraft, so that's
I
don't
love
either,
it.
but I know that.
that's funny that made it in there, you know. And that was one of those movies. I mean, I don't know if you could really call this a quote, but like when the guys are charging at him and they're like, "Ah," and he pulls his gun up in the air and he's like, "Ah," and he shoots, and then, you know, rocks fall down and hit him on the head.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you could consider that a movie quote, but I think everybody at some point is going, "Ah!"
It's one of the great scenes.
Well, I mean, that whole movie is good. I mean, when you have, hey, let's jump up in the air and fight, you know, and it's just, you're just going from one side to the other and back and forth. It's like, you know, I don't know if it plays today or not, but it was awesome in the 80s.
Here's an 80s movie. It's a cartoon quote. And if you've ever been to my house, it's the most untrue quote of all time from American Tail. There are no cats in America.
What's no cats in America?
And the streets are paved with cheese.
Yes, because the little mouse was just wanting a better life. Yeah, there's no cats in America. I hadn't even thought about that one, man. That was, I mean...
So what do you think about, you know, we all watch movies, and we still watch movies, but it just seems like quotes, there's not those iconic quotes in movies today.
It's much more rare today, for
And
sure.
I don't know what that is. Maybe filmmakers are trying to be more intellectual. I don't know.
Nobody
but,
wants to do the truffle shuffle, okay?
Yeah, but I mean, that crap
There's
was
no
funny,
fun quotes
man.
in the Abrams verse Star Trek.
Yeah, and
Well,
and
there's no quotes in like the new Transformers, all the ones that they've done, and I mean,
I just think it's
even-
missing that.
Right,
I
the god-awful G.I. Joe movies.
Yeah, had so much hope for that.
Yeah,
So much hope for that.
yeah,
Man.
that was.
It's really hard to get me to dislike a movie that has both Bruce Willis and The Rock in it.
Yeah.
They succeeded.
Yep. Call me Joe. What? I'm like, really? That's gonna be your. That's gonna be.
That
your,
is not quotable.
No.
That's
Hell no.
quotable in a fact that's only quotable because it's so unquotable.
Yes. Yeah, but it's funny. Almost every quote that we've mentioned has had that. Somebody help me with the term there. And I keep saying badassery, but I hate to use that again. But It
has
kind of
a-
has
it
it
has
has that
gravitas.
yeah, there you go.
gravitas.
It has that thing, and that just doesn't exist now.
Okay. A throwaway line that became iconic. Terminator. I'll be back.
Yeah,
That was literally going to be a throwaway line.
It became so iconic he worked it into other movies.
oh yes, you're
I
right.
want the Yippee
You're
K,
absolute.
like when they did the Expendables, you know, and
Yeah.
they're in a shootout. I can't remember. It's like the second and third one or something, and they're sitting there, and he goes, "I'll be back," and he goes, "No, I'll be back." And Bruce Willis takes off, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger looks at him and goes, "Well, yippee ki mother," you know. It's like they used each other's because it, like you said, it had been worked into so many, you know, other movies and other things, you know. And then you get if you want to get into the '90s, you know, you get you change it up a little bit and go with "Hasta la vista," you know. But just a line that really nobody would think about. I'll be back.
Right.
And well, you know, we mentioned Star Wars being in the 70s, but it's so throughout the series, I think we can use this one. I've got a bad feeling about this.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Empire was 1980.
You're right. Like I
So-
said, it first appeared in Star Wars, but fortunately we had Empire and Jedi in the 80s.
Yes.
And
Which
we had Han Solo. So I mean,
Well, and you know, and he
There
was
was
the
all-
guy. He was the guy that gave those quotes.
he did it, and then Carrie Fisher did it in Empire, I believe.
Right.
When they go into the snake worm or the space worm, you know, she like, well, there's Kate. I got a bad feeling about this.
Well,
you
that
know?
quote is in every. That quote is in every Star Wars series. I mean, like cartoons and stuff like that too. It's just a thing.
Well, it's
And-
kind of
and I
like
think that's
Obi-Wan
awesome.
going, "Hello there,"
Yeah.
because he actually says it in A New Hope. You know, he actually says "Hello there" to R2, and
Yes.
then they kind of ran with it. But you know, if we're going to talk Star Wars, I mean, how can you not say, "No, I am your father"? You know?
Right.
Which
yeah.
was Empire, so it definitely fits the theme.
But and what's funny since we're talking about quotes is how that has been misquoted.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Right. I mean, isn't that a thing? Because it
Very
is
much
no,
so.
I am your father. Right.
Yes, and he says-
but it's been misquoted as like all kinds of
Luke,
different
I am
things.
your father.
Yeah, which is not it. And
It's just like Beam Me Up, Scotty.
okay,
Yeah.
Kirk never uttered those words.
you're absolutely right. But it is so much.
But
a
it's
part
iconically
yeah,
connected
Could it
to
be
that
iconically
series.
incorrect?
I think so. Yeah.
You know, because it is so iconic, even though it is incorrect, it still becomes correct. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I
It's
guess
wrong,
so.
but it's so wrong that it's right.
Yes. Yes.
But I mean, you know, you want to talk Star Trek? I mean, I know Pat, this was one that you were saving, but I'll throw that over to you. From Star Trek 2, is that correct? God.
Yeah. Con. Yes.
And there's so many good ones for that one. There's when Khan quotes or paraphrases Moby Dick.
That's right. Yeah.
He tasks me. He tasks me, and I shall have him. I shall chase him around the moons of Nibia, around the Antares Maelstrom cluster, and across perdition's flame before I give him up.
Nice.
That may be slightly off from the actual quote, but that's the gist of it. And then, you know, there's the heartbreaking quote. As Spock is just, spoiler alert in case none of you have seen The Wrath of Khan. When Spock is in there dying,
Yeah.
I have been and always shall be.
Your friend. Yes.
And then from the funeral, which this one gets quoted a lot by my group because it's Shatner. Of all the souls I've encountered in my travels, his was the most human.
I think that you need to tell
You know
people
what?
how you really feel.
You know, and it's another thing.
About
Yeah,
that
he talks like that sometimes, but not all the time. But you, but if you talk like
It's sort
that,
of like him and Christopher Walken.
right?
They both get pigeonholed with a vocal cadence they don't normally have. But they're so
Yes.
famous for parts they've done in that cadence.
They just got to embrace it and go.
Well, yeah, I mean,
That's good stuff. You know, every time we do one of these shows about this old stuff, it makes me want to go back and watch some more old stuff. You know what
well,
I mean?
then there's so many things that we've not talked about, and you know, we've not even hit on the Goonies or.
Well, talk about, how about the Goonies, man? I mean, Baby Ruth. You know, that's a great movie. You know, and it was on one day, and my kid, my son, was walking through, and he goes, "What's this?" I was like, "One of the greatest adventure movies of all time. Sit and watch this for me." And he sat and watched the rest of it. And he goes, "That's so cool." Because he hadn't seen anything like that before, because they don't make movies.
And if we hadn't had the Goonies, we'd have never had Stranger Things.
No, you're right. They're very, very stylized and everything. They just feel the same.
Well, if you've noticed though, a lot of movies that we quoted stuff from are some kind of action adventure, and a lot of them are group based. You know, there's a group or at least several characters. I don't want to say, I guess, an ensemble maybe.
Right.
I don't know if that's the right way to put it.
Right.
You know, that's one of those things you don't. I don't know. We kind of talked about this offline. It's like, you know, did they just not want to write movies like that because of we've got a certain star and we want it to center on them and not the group? I mean, because I know you can throw, well, guys, you know, we've got, you know, the Avengers and, you know, the whole of the MCU, which I guess you could say is an ensemble story.
Oh yeah. But in fact, I'm having MCU withdrawals this morning.
Oh yeah. No WandaVision, man.
Like Winter Soldier and the Falcon can't get here soon enough.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
But is that more of the exception to the rule now with filmmaking? Is that we don't want to have like that group dynamic, and
You know what? I don't know. I mean, there is definitely not the same feel that it was back then. And I've mentioned that before. And you guys that are listening that are at least our age or like this kind of thing, you probably think about that. I mean, we grew up watching this stuff and emulating this stuff, and we thought, man, we need to be bad to the bone, and we need to gang up with our buddies to do it. And we're going to be a team, and we're going to go on this adventures or whatever. And I don't think that that's the feel now. I think a lot of things are very solo based.
And there's obviously the exceptions like the Avengers.
Well, right.
But that's so superhero. It doesn't have that real let's team up with my buddies. It's
yes.
like we're the most powerful beings in the universe. We have to save the Earth.
Right. Yep. And you're right. And they've got internal turmoil and things like that.
It's not like with E.T., it was a bunch of kids and we found this alien, we've got to help him. Everybody get on your bikes, let's go.
The ultimate evolution of that was The Hangover, when they lost Doug.
Yeah, I guess you're right there, yeah.
Spoiler alert, Doug's on the roof of the hotel the entire movie.
What other good quotes you guys can think of right now?
Well, I'm going to go, because it always seems like it was either the great action movies or the great comedy movies.
Yeah.
And this is one of the great comedy movies of all time, Caddyshack.
There you
it's
go.
in the whole...
When Rodney Dangerfield's character's meeting all the country club people.
Oh, gosh.
It's like, oh, this is your wife, huh? Hey, baby, you must have been something before electricity.
Oh, that's so good.
He had so many.
So good, man.
Lines
so
like
good.
That. It was funny.
So good.
And of course, you got the great Bill Murray quote where he's imagining himself Cinderella story. And I can't remember the rest of that quote. I'd have to look it up.
I just remember that it's in the whole.
And my favorite single line quote from it after they dropped the baby Ruth in the pool, and the guy yells, "Duty!"
Oh, that's good stuff, man.
Well, I mean, and there's some quotes that I love that are from. I hate to say really bad movies, but they really are.
Sometimes those are the best.
Well, I don't know if Pat. I'm sure you probably have, Chad. I don't know if you've seen the original Punisher, the Dolph Lundgren one.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
it's got some of my favorite quotes all time in it. Because there's one when he's with the mob boss at the end, and they're going back to they're going to save the kids from the Japanese, and they're gearing up, and he's like, all those men you killed, there's a limit to revenge. And Frank's just like, I guess I haven't reached mine yet. Because it was like the Punisher encapsulated right there. He's like, because he was just this endless rage. And then when Louis Gossett Jr., who was like in every movie in the 80s that was a C movie or less, I guess.
Yeah.
Like Iron Eagle.
Iron Eagle.
There you go.
He said, he goes, I've been looking for you, Frank. He said, they're going to electrocute you and there's nothing I can do about it. He goes, what do you call 125 murders in 5 years? And he's like, work in progress.
My favorite quote from that movie, and there was a new metal rap group called Biohazard that quoted it. It was sampled it in one of their songs. And it was a song about Punisher. It was, come on, God, answer me.
Me, yeah.
Why are the innocent dead and the guilty alive? Where is justice? Where is punishment? Or maybe you've already answered and told me, I am justice. I am punishment.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's I love what they tried to do with it, but they really missed the mark.
Yeah.
Those early Marvel films were bad.
Just not great. Not great.
Well, I mean,
if you've ever seen the David Hasselhoff Nick Fury movie,
I have that movie.
Oh, I don't know that I would have admitted to that, man.
I have all of the Fantastic Four one is just great.
It's better than that last Fantastic Four movie.
It's better than all the Fantastic Four movies.
I kind of like the first one with
Chiklis as a thing, and
yeah. I'll tell you another bad one is the Captain America movies with Rob Salinger as Captain America, son of JD. I have no son, Salinger.
Yeah. The suit, they tried to make the suit accurate to the comics, and whatever they made it out of, they couldn't cut because they didn't make ear holes for him, and so they just put fake ears on it.
Right.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, at least it wasn't a motorcycle helmet.
Oh my
with a see-through plastic shield, but
that's true.
But you got an Italian Red Skull, and you basically stop him with a tape recording of him playing the piano.
And then there's Chinese Spider-Man.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I got that on VHS.
I think I saw something about that where it was some collecting show where somebody had gotten a costume from there or something like that.
Well, that was one of those things. Marvel was licensing stuff, and Spider-Man was huge, and so they basically.
And let's not forget Electric Company Spider-Man.
It's a glove sandwich. Oddly enough, that was the first live-action Spider-Man of all time.
Yeah. Where he threw giant nets on people.
I guess you work with what you got, right? I mean,
that's true.
I mean, we did make a Highlander video for Spanish class.
Yeah, we did.
Well,
fellas, that was a pretty good trip down memory lane with some
quotes,
absolutely. From the 80s there. We sort of kind of threw this episode together on kind of short notice because it's been a busy week for everyone, and then the technical difficulties that we had this morning with putting things together. But I've enjoyed it, and
I loved it.
I know you guys.
And our listeners got to hear the workout tone, not just like
at the end. That's absolutely right. Got it right there. So
we should make that like a contest, is to see when Pat's on the show.
Can we finish before it's time to work out?
Yes.
Can we finish before it's time to work out? Or, put like, if you heard our super secret, Pat's got to go work out chime. Comment what time it was for a chance to win.
There you go.
Yeah.
Speaking of contests, we're going to give it a little bit of a hint of something else, but not too much yet. Yeah, we've got an interactive kind of contest thing in development. For all you local folks, that are local to the Knoxville metropolitan East Tennessee area. And it's coming up, and it's going to be really cool. And we've got some local businesses that have given us some really cool prizes, and we're going to get a little bit more on that. Looking to make that contest go live April 1st, and it will not be an April Fool's joke. It'll be legit.
Or will it?
Yeah. So April 1st,
tuned.
2021, for those of you that listen to this in 100 years from now when it's still popular and you're going back and
it's like when I watch
so.
the old wrestling on Monday nights, and they blur out the 800 or the 900 numbers so you can't try to call the hotline anymore.
Oh, yeah. The wrestling hotline.
That's right. Well, Pat, thanks for coming on, and as usual,
thanks for having me, guys.
and throwing us that all your knowledge of everything badassery in the 80s. And again, as we always say, make sure you go and spread the word about our show. Follow all of the social media links. You can find those on our Buzzsprout website. You can go to
nerdyoldmen.buzzsprout.com.
There you go. Upper
We've
right-hand
got
corner
buttons.
has...
I know it's available on Spotify because that's where I listen.
Yep, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, pretty much everywhere, and it's kind of
Everywhere a
expanded.
great podcaster listens.
That's right, everywhere. So go and check that stuff out. Be sure to listen to the commercial at the end of our music run here that tells you about how to get some merchandise to show your pride, and we appreciate that, and you guys that have bought some of those.
Yeah, we really do appreciate that, because that does help fund the
Yeah,
show.
I sported my Nerdy Old Men merch to Star Wars Legion night the other night.
There you go. See, that's awesome. So we're going to, and next week, as long as things go well, we're supposed to go on location again to another local nerd establishment. So we're looking forward to doing that, and more episodes to come. So until the next time, this is the Old Bald Man with Perfect Pat and Redneck Wes, and I'll be back.
Yeehaw.
Con!
There you go! We're leaving that one in.